Case 26. Dr. N. What was most important to you about this life you have just recalled as Leth the Viking? Subject: to experience that magnificent body and the feeling of raw physical power. I have never had another body like that one in all my existences on Earth. I was fearless because my body did not react to pain even when wounded. In every respect, it was flawless. I never got sick. Dr. N. Was Leth ever mentally troubled by anything? Was there any emotional sensitivity for you in this life? Subject bursts out laughing. Are you kidding? Never. I lived only for each day. My concerns were not getting enough fighting, plunder, food, drink, and sex. All my feelings were channeled into physical pursuits. What a body. Dr. N. All right. Let's analyze your decision to choose this great body in advance of Leth's life. At the time you made your choice in the spirit world, did you request this body of good genetic stock, or did your guide simply make the selection for you? Subject: counselors don't do that. Dr. N. Then explain to me how this body came to be chosen by you. Subject: I wanted one of the best physical specimens on Earth at the time, and Leth was offered to me as a possibility. Dr. N. You had only one choice? Subject: no, I had two choices of people living in this time. Dr. N. What if you didn't like any of the body choices presented to you for occupation in that time segment? Subject, thoughtfully. The alternatives of my choices always seem to match what I want to experience in my lives. Dr. N. Do you have the sense the counselors know in advance which body selections are exactly right for you? Or are they so harried it's just an indiscriminate grab bag of body choices? Subject: nothing here is careless. The counselors arrange everything. Dr. N. I have wondered if the counselors might get mixed up once in a while. With all the new babies born, could they ever assign two souls to one baby? Or leave a baby without a soul for a while? Subject, laughing. We aren't in an assembly line. I told you they know what they are doing. They don't make mistakes like that. Dr. N. I believe you. Now, as to your choices, I am curious if two bodies were sufficient for your examination in the place of life selection. Subject: we don't need a lot of choices for lives once the counselors get their heads together about our desires. I already had some idea of the right body size and shape, and the sex I wanted before being exposed to my two choices. Dr. N. What was the body choice you rejected in favor of Leth? Subject, pause. That of a soldier from Rome, also with the strong body I wanted in that lifetime. Dr. N. What was wrong with being an Italian soldier? Subject: I didn't want control over me by the state. Subject shakes head from side to side. Too restrictive. Dr. N. As I remember, by the 9th century, much of Europe had fallen under the authority of Charlemagne's Holy Roman Empire. Subject: that was the trouble with the soldier's life. As a Viking, I answered to nobody. I was free. I could move around with my band of invaders in the wilderness without any governmental control.
All right, so see how, here we go again, the trade-off. Okay, so you want to be free from the state, but you have a group of invaders that you're leading as a Viking, supposedly. And you're basically raising hell on people's lives inside of the Earth system. And so what are you doing? You're furthering the agenda. They love that. They love it. Sure. Okay, we'll give you a little bit of extra freedom. You don't have to worry about dealing with the state, this and that. Oh, hell, we'll even give you a boat, give you a crew. As long as you're inflicting suffering, you're hired.
Dr. N. Then freedom was also an issue in your choice. Subject: absolutely. The freedom of movement, the fury of battle, the use of my strength and uninhibited action. Life at sea and in the forests was robust and constant. I know the life was cruel, too, but it was a brutal time. I was no better or worse than the rest. Dr. N: but what about other considerations, such as personality? Subject: nothing bothered me as long as I was able to physically express myself to the fullest. Dr. N: did you have a mate, children? Subject shrugs: too restrictive. I was on the move. I possessed many women, some willing, others not, and this pleasure added to my expression of physical power. I didn't want to be tied down in any way. Dr. N: so the body of Leth was your preference, as a pure physical extension of sensual feeling? Subject: yes. I wanted to experience all body senses to the fullest, nothing more. I felt my subject was now ready to go to work on her current problem. After bringing her out of superconscious into a subconscious state, I asked her to go directly to a life which may have involved leg pain. Almost at once, the woman dropped into her most recent past life and became a 6-year-old girl named Ashley, living in New England in the year 1871. Ashley was riding in a fully loaded, horse-drawn carriage when suddenly she opened the door and tumbled out under the vehicle. When she hit the cobblestone street, one of the heavy rear carriage wheels rolled over her legs at the same point above both knees, crushing the bones.
Okay, listen to this story. Wait till we get a little deeper in this one. It's going to blow you away. I think I brought this one up before, and I don't think it was in this series, but some of my more recent videos, I've brought it up at least once or twice.
My subject re-experienced a sharp pain in her legs while describing the fall. Despite efforts from local physicians and the prolonged use of wood splints, Ashley's leg bones did not heal properly. She was never able to stand or walk again, and poor circulation caused repeated swelling in her legs for the rest of a rather short life. Ashley died in 1912, after a productive period of years as a writer and tutor of disadvantaged children. When the narration of Ashley's life ended, I returned my subject to the spirit world. Dr. N: in your history of body choices, why did you wait 1,000 years between being a physically strong man and a crippled woman? Subject: well, of course I developed a better sense of who I was during the lives in between. I chose to be crippled to gain intellectual concentration.
Can you believe that? I chose to be crippled in exchange for intellect. You believe that? Wait till you hear where this goes.
Dr. N: you chose a broken body for this? Subject: yes, you see, being unable to walk made me read and study more. I developed my mind and listened to my mind. I learned to communicate well and to write with skill because I wasn't distracted. I was always in bed. Dr. N: was any characteristic about your soul particularly evident in both Ashley and Leth the Viking? Subject: that part of me which craves fiery expression was in both bodies. Dr. N: I want you to go to the moment you were in the process of choosing the life of Ashley. Tell me how you decided on this particular damaged body. Subject: I picked a family in a well-established, settled part of America. I wanted a place with libraries, and to be taken care of by loving parents, so I could devote myself to scholarship. I constantly wrote to many unhappy people, and became a good teacher. Dr. N: as Ashley, what did you do for this loving family who took care of you? Subject: it always works two ways, the benefits and liabilities. I chose this family because they needed the intensity of love with someone totally dependent upon them all their lives. We were very close as a family, because they were lonely before I was born. I came late as their only child. They wanted a daughter who would not marry and leave them to be lonely again. Dr. N. So it was a trade-off. Subject. Most definitely.
It was a trade-off. A life of suffering, a horrible injury. And what do they get? They get a family that gets to take care of them, which I guess is good, right? They get to read more and have more intellectual curiosity, as they said. But you have to ask yourself, why are these trade-offs happening? Kind of like the Viking, right? We just heard the Viking story where they're claiming, you know, they wanted to not be have their life being interrupted by the state. So the trade-off was, okay, we give you the ship, we give you the crew, and, you know, you inflict pain on others. This case is, okay, you get a family that is well off, wanting a child, but the injury comes along with it. Even though Anne is claiming to have a hand in this, but how far did the suggestion go for that to occur? You have to ask yourself where this, you know, where does Anne's decision making start and the entity's decision making and influence start? End, I guess. It's nuts. It's just insane. It's sick.
Dr. N. Then let's track this decision further back to the place of life selection. When your soul first saw Ashley's life, did you see the details of your carriage accident then? Subject. Of course, but it wasn't an accident. It was supposed to happen.
Wasn't an
Dr.
accident.
N.
Supposed to happen.
Once you came to Earth, who was responsible for the fall? Was it your soul mind or Ashley's biological mind? Subject. We worked in unison.
We worked in unison. Just gonna rewind that quick.
But it wasn't an accident. It was supposed to happen. Dr. N. Once you came to Earth, who was responsible for the fall? Was it your soul mind or Ashley's biological mind? Subject. We worked in unison. She was going to be fooling with the carriage door handle, and I capitalized on that. Dr.
See what I mean? You hearing this shit? This one infuriated me. This is why I've talked about this case before, because it's just... Let me just rewind that brief moment. I mean, I hate to rewind this stuff, but I really want to make sure this is sinking in, because this is one of the most glaring cases you can listen to in the whole book.
But it wasn't an accident. It was supposed to happen. Dr. N. Once you came to Earth, who was responsible for the fall? Was it your soul mind or Ashley's biological mind? Subject. We worked in unison. She was going to be fooling with the carriage door handle, and I capitalized on that. Dr. N. Tell me what was going through your soul mind in the life selection room when you saw the scene of Ashley falling and being injured. Subject. I thought about how this crippled body could be put to good use. I had some...
How this crippled body can be put to good use. Insane. Normalization, again, everyone, it's this big fog going on. This huge overlay of fog and fuckery going on and on and on. It's never ending. It's never ending. and there's massive interference going on.
Other choices for body injuries, but I preferred this one because I didn't want to have the capability for much movement. Dr. N,
Yeah.
I want to pursue the issue of causality here. Would Ashley have fallen anyway if she had a soul other than your own? Subject, defensively. We were right for each other. Dr. N, that doesn't answer my question. Subject, long pause. There are forces beyond my knowledge as a spirit. When I saw Ashley for the first time, I was able to see her without me. Healthy, older, another life possibility. Dr. N, now we are getting somewhere. Are you saying if Ashley had begun her life with another soul entity, that she might not have fallen at all? Subject, yes. That's a possibility. One of many. She could also have been less severely injured, with the ability to walk on crutches. Dr. N, well, did you see a physically healthy Ashley living happily without your soul? Subject, I saw a grown woman, normal legs, unhappiness with a man, frustration at being trapped in an unrewarding life, sorrowful parents, but easier. Voice becomes more firm.
You cannot help. Honestly, this case just, every time I've heard it, it just gets me extremely emotional and just disgusted. And just think for one moment that this is one example of how many, for how long this has been going on. This is one example. It is heartbreaking to listen to this. And it's just normalized. No big deal. Why would you plan to come to Earth and you can't even walk? And you want to exchange it? The exchange process is being able to experience this world in a different fashion and be able to have knowledge and a little bit of comfort financially because of who your parents are. Just it's so heartbreaking and just sick.
No, that course would not have worked well for either of us. I was the best soul for her. Dr. N, were you the prime mover of the fall once you elected to become Ashley's soul? Subject, it was both of us.
It was both of us. Again.
We were one at that moment. She was being naughty, bouncing around in the carriage, playing with the door handle when her mother said she must stop.
Hear that? You hear how sick that is? So she's playing with the door handle. Mother's telling her she's got to stop. And so this is the reward you receive.
Then I was ready and she was ready. Dr. N,
It was a possession.
just how rigid was your destiny?
This is like a soul possession going on where they come in at these moments in life. And they are life-changing, altering events. Either known or unknown. But unknown because this is a regression. I think those at the tippity top have some retention of memory. They're not necessarily going to know something like this, but as long as it's leading down a negative highway, good to go. Good to go. No problem at all, right? Everything's A-okay.
Once you were Ashley's soul, was there any way you could have backed out of this entire incident in the carriage? Subject, pause. I can tell you I had a flash just before I fell. I could have pulled back and not fallen out. A voice inside my mind said, "It's an opportunity. Don't wait any longer. Take the fall. This is what you wanted." It's the best course of action.
Hear this?
Dr. N. Was that particular moment important? Subject. I didn't want Ashley to get too much older. Dr. N. But the pain and suffering this child went through.
Yeah, exactly.
Subject. It was horrible. The agony of those first 5 weeks was beyond belief. I almost died. But I learned from enduring it all. And I now see the memories of Leth's capacity for managing pain helped me. Dr. N.
Yeah, what a help.
Did your inner mind have any regrets during those moments when the pain was most severe? Subject. As I slipped in and out of consciousness during the worst of the ordeal, my mind began gaining in power, overriding my damaged body. I started to better control the pain. Lying in bed, the doctors helpless. The skills I developed in managing pain were later used to concentrate on my studies, and my counselor was helping me too, in subtle ways. Dr. N. So you gained a lot in this life by being unable to walk. Subject. Yes. I became a listener and a thinker. I corresponded with many people and learned to write with inspiration. I gained teaching ability with the young and felt guided by an internal power. Dr. N. Was your counselor proud of your accomplishments after you returned to the spirit world? Subject. Very. Although I was told I had become a little too indulged and pampered. Laughs. But that's an okay trade-off. Dr. N. How does your experience with the strong body of Leth...
Just want to say, again, the trade-off for pampering, a life, an injury that is life-changing, preventing you from walking. Oh, but you were pampered. Oh, so everything, that's fine. It's a trade-off. It's a trade-off. See the sickness going on here? I rewinded it just a little bit because I interrupted. Sorry.
Teaching ability with the young and felt guided by an internal power. Dr. N. Was your counselor proud of your accomplishments after you returned to the spirit world? Subject. Very. Although I was told I had become a little too indulged and pampered. Laughs. But that's an okay trade-off.